just wondering what it means to you to be here to celebrate your former coach and all that he's done for the franchise there, and especially 95.
Yeah, well, definitely well-deserved. I mean, when he came, that was really the start sort of us elevating what we thought we could do and what we were. And, personally, he taught me a lot as a young player. When he came here, I was 20, 21 years old, and we definitely had our sort of disagreements. So I guess he kind of knew it was more me with the disagreements. But I look back now and I'm feel fortunate that I had him and Larry to sort of direct me as a young player. And so personally, it was great, and obviously for the franchise, it really gave us an identity that we carried forward for a long time and allowed us to have a lot of success.
What was it about his arrival and the things that you're talking about there that you saw that was going to elevate you guys?
Well, I think just what he'd been through as a player and the success he'd been a part of. I think you couldn't question his knowledge and what it took to win a Stanley Cup. And I think he obviously brought that with him, him and Larry. And so when he spoke, we listened and did the best. And we were fortunate. We kind of were getting results pretty quick as a team. And when you see that and his reputation, you do start to believe and become better at doing those things.
Good.
No, and then, the first year we made it to the conference final and losing overtime in Game 7. So you're pretty darn close at that point to winning a Stanley Cup, and the next year we did it. So, pretty quick. I don't know if you always could count on it being that quick, but Jacques knew what he wanted. He was very clear as a coach, and there's no questioning sort of what he wanted or what the results would be because we got them pretty quickly.
What did Jacques teach you as a person about life skills and what it's like to be an NHL player?
I think just the demand on the details of the game and sort of the consistency that you had to have with them. After having played many years and experiences, you do recognize that in those moments, in the overtime, obviously in a Game 7, but any moment of a playoff series, you never know when that one play is going to happen that could make the difference in a series. So he was very sort of firm about that, and then just the commitment to sort of both sides of the puck to, preventing the goal is just as important as getting one. As a young guy, for me, that was hard to believe, but that's actually true. So,
Scott, what's a story about Jacques that you could share? It could be a funny one, whatever. It could be about on ice, off the ice. Like, what comes to mind when you think of it?
Yeah, I'm not your story guy, but one thing that, like I said, Jacques, had a lot of patience with me, sort of, and me growing up and learning how to be a professional. And one of the things he wanted me to do was make sure my warm-ups were more intense and that I was getting ready to play. And I remember in Tampa, things got a little bit loud. I was sort of tired of him kind of, harping on me about my warm-ups. And I just laughed to myself. Years later, I'm out in warm-up, I'm the hardest working guy out there. I'm skating, I'm sweating, and I'm like, oh yeah, I guess he was right. So just things like that, like that. As a young player, it took me a while, but he did teach me a lot for sure.
What do you make of Jacques' legacy as a coach? Him and Larry came in, they made everything, still told neutral zone trap. Now you still see a lot of teams try to emulate it or try to make it their own. 30 years later, so he's starting an enduring legacy. Just what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I think that probably was a strategy used even prior to us, sort of making it a little more famous, I guess. But I think what he had us was our commitment to it, to play in a certain way and not cheating at all defensively, making it really hard on the other teams was really, I think, his main priority as a team and focus. And I think all the teams are trying to do that now. Everybody recognizes how important defense is and the commitment to it to win. I think when you see teams that do end up winning the Stanley Cup, that's something they have all in common is the way they play the game, and they're committed to that side of the puck for sure.
One of the things that Travis Zajac was telling me from his experience working with Jacques was you could tell right away that he was playing chess while everyone else was playing checkers. Could you identify that early from him?
Yeah, he did. There was no question he had a great feeling for the game. Obviously, as a player, the players he played with in Montreal and the experiences he had there was no doubt he had been in every situation and could understand it. And he really, it was simple. We didn't complicate it. It wasn't a puzzle, really. It was a fairly simple approach to what you're trying to do. And he was very good at conveying that. And he did not, there was not a lot of gray area. You either did that or you didn't play. And I found that out the hard way. Some of the older guys were quicker to learn that, but, which is good too. It was very clear of what he wanted us to do.
And then, Scott, when you see the team right now, that's going to be out on the ice, what comes to mind when you see what's building here right now under Jack, Nico, Brad, and everyone here?
Yeah, I mean, it's exciting. When I was here, we were fortunate to have that success and sort of feel you were a Stanley Cup contender when you came to training camp. That you're lucky to have that feeling. Not every team truly has it, and I think they've got themselves into that, reality. And now it's going to be learning through experience. Getting into the playoffs and having a bit of a run and seeing what that's all about, because there is more to learn and it's a different game there. So it's exciting, and hopefully it can keep trending in the same direction.
What's the most important thing to learn in the postseason that is required to get there to the next level?
Yeah, I think a lot of things, but getting comfortable to exactly what the intensity and the competition is like. And then, like Jacques taught us about the details, being consistent with those, and being more consistent than the opponent, basically, is going to help you win. And I don't think you truly understand how important that is until you're there and experience it, for sure.
How important was it the fact that he won 8 Stanley Cups?
Yeah.
In other words, did all the players understand how great a player he was, and that helped him become a better coach? Or did it intimidate the players at all?
I don't think it was intimidating. I think you're right. We believed in what he was saying. There was no question about it, because he'd had the success as a player. And I was a little young to maybe really remember him as a player, but just his resume, understanding that he was part of those championships there, and had seen what it took, and obviously understood when you've done it that many times, you kind of have a pretty good idea. So that helped tremendously. I mean, right away we listened. Our ears were open, and we believed in what he was telling us, for sure.
What's it like getting together? At events like this, they don't happen all that often, but former teammates, former coach, Lou is here. Well, what's that kind of like for a returning player?
Yeah, it's nice. It's a lot different than when you're playing. Just that intensity and sort of focus that you have when you're playing. It doesn't maybe allow you to relax and really enjoy each other and memories and past experiences. So times like this, it's great. You can relax. We don't have to play tonight. So and then
Could you?
No, I couldn't. And then just, even this last couple of days talking with Jacques in sort of more of a friendship type way, which has kind of been interesting to hear him talk about what it was like coaching us and his own career as well, like as a player. I've enjoyed that too.
So what do you say about coaching you guys? What were some of the things?
He the way he spoke of it, just sort of how happy and how much it meant to him just to see us have success. I think as a player, prior to being a coach, I think he obviously totally understood what it was like to be a teammate and compete hard for each other and trust each other. And I think when he saw us doing those things, it kind of brought back all those memories. And I'm sure as a coach, that was his goal, sort of to let us go out and do those things.
How much do you recall '94, the Rangers, the Epic Series, being a motivating factor for you guys the following year?
Yeah, I mean, it was big. I think you look at a lot of teams, and you need to have those experiences, to kind of calibrate what does it take truly to have success. And we were right there, but not quite. So it was a motivating factor for sure. But at the same time, I think it gave us some confidence to understand we are right there, and we weren't far away. So a few improvements, and we can win a championship. So
you mentioned talking to him in a little different way now. Was this really the first time you got to talk to him that way?
No, I mean, not really. Maybe for that length of time. Probably in past times it's been kind of quicker conversations, but the last couple of days we've had more time to sit down and talk, and it's been great. I've really sort of see him in a little different eyes than I did as a player, absolutely.
Scott, comparatively speaking, a lot of people compare Luke Hughes' game to yours. Just what are your thoughts on that similarity?
Yeah, I mean, you look at a lot of these young him especially. I mean, he can obviously the skating. As a defenseman, he's a little bigger than me, but he definitely can skate. And that's a positive. But it can also get you into trouble sometimes. Defense is a position that is somewhat hard to play in the sense of just experience and understanding. Sometimes less is more. And when you have the ability and the skill to do things, you always want to do things. Sometimes simple is better, and that it just takes time and experience to kind of figure out how to use those things effectively to your advantage.
Thanks.